like everyone else who said they're an Anglican all their life, I am. And I've also interacted with the Catholic faith because one half of my family is Catholic and the other half is Anglican. I would have to agree with you in your statement that you made, or your opinion about the sermon reaching the people. But on a personal point of view, I think it's who is listening when they're in church. Why are you in church? Because I come to St. Paul Church, and when I leave St. Paul Church on a given Sunday, the message was told. I got the message, and I got the Eucharist. It's done by Reverend Deborah, and she preached the message. And if there are others may walk out there and say, it does nothing for me. So a large part of that is really you, the individual. What are you there for?
Can I just say something? I want to respond to Courtney's comment. Say what we want about televangelism. And I, like you, my brother, have some anxieties about the industry itself. But I wasn't trying to be flippant when I said to you, the question ought to be, why are we going to men rather than why are the men coming to church? Because I do think that one of the accomplishments of televangelism, obviously, is that it is going to. St. Stephen and St. Martin, we decided recently that we discovered that half of our young people and their friends, you know where they're hanging out? On Facebook. I mean, that's where they have their conversations. So we injected the other day and said to one of our young, how about if you threw a Bible passage on your Facebook and ask your friends to interact to the Bible passage? Long story short, what is happening right now is that they're having intense Bible study on Facebook. And it seemed to me that as we talk about how are we getting to, rather than how they're coming, we ought to look at some of those new and innovative and creative approaches, and technology is one of them. Yeah. And the Episcopal Church needs to step up to the plate, and this is something I've said to Bishop, Professor, or whoever will listen, and it's an available tool and a channel through which we must begin to get to, and not necessarily when people come.
Thank you.
I have a response actually to something that Lil just said. I asked about the men in sermons earlier. When I go to church, I always like to break open the Word. Break it open, get every bit out of it. I want to learn something new. I was speaking to Debbie yesterday, and I was talking about the amazing job that preachers have. You have 52 times a year that you got to come up with something that people haven't heard. And then you got to do that again the next year. Plus you got the double. Good Friday and Thursday. But when you go to church, it is nevertheless the preacher's, whatever faith, it's the preacher's job to break open that word and give it to you. God working through that preacher, the word is God, Christ is the word, give that word to you. But it also, we have to look at our maturity as Christians. Many men coming to church are not mature Christians. The women may be way ahead of them. All women aren't mature Christians either. As a mature Christian, you know what you are to get out of church. You know how to put the distractions to the side. So our maturity in Christianity is important. So as we're looking at bringing men to church, we've got to recognize that when we bring that man to church, he may be a baby. He might have gone to church as a kid, but as an adult, he may be a baby. And if you're trying to give that baby meat, you're going to kill a baby.
It's not there yet.
So you got to figure out, what do I need to feed him when he gets there?
Excellent.
And that is from the preacher and the congregation.
Yes.
Excellent.
If we want to encourage men to come to church, there has to be someone that is going to be willing to mentor them. Too often, we don't have inquirers classes for new visitors who have no idea what the Episcopal Church or any church is all about. People are received into the church, not everywhere, but some places. I wonder what they're even taught. In the Catholic Church, there's catechism classes. There used to be when I was a kid in Episcopal Church. I don't know if they have them anymore. But I find when I talk to men about discipleship in the Brotherhood, they respond in a certain way, and I know it is that they are not prepared to do it because they're not trained to do it. So when we look back at a self-reflection or self-evaluation, we have to determine what it is in our life that we can change so that we will have that heart transformation, that we can go out and transform the lives of others. But all the men in this room, I challenge you guys, all these Brotherhood members, we have to do something about ourselves before we can go out and invite men to come to church. When you get visitors that come to church, you see men, how many guys go over and say, look, here, the prayer book or whatever. And then I even want you to do it, but the idea is we have to train and equip ourselves. If we're not willing to equip ourselves, we're not going to make a difference in the lives of others.